Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thank you very much for watching that earwax removal video. You gave us some fantastic suggestions about the types of videos that you wanted to see over the next couple of weeks. So we went with the top 10. So these are our personal favorite top 10 earwax extractions from our channel. We had 320 some odd to choose from. So it was quite a tough choice to narrow it down to 10, but these are our 10 favorites. So there were lots of suggestions that came through. One was that could I show you this? So this is the big ear that everyone sees behind the introduction. So basically this is a model of the ear canal. So what we're going to be doing today, this particular extraction you're going to see was episode 62, which was a really difficult extraction to do, mainly because the wax was located right down here, right against the eardrum, okay? So right down there and into this little valley that appears just in front of the eardrum there as well. So we had a lot of very dry skin and wax down here that needed removing. What complicated matters a little bit was the ear canal was very narrow, which meant we couldn't accommodate the sort of standard size tools in there. So it was a really good extraction to watch. So without further ado, we'll pop the extraction on, and I'll talk you through it as we're going along. I'm going to pop my glasses on as well. So what you can see here is the entrance to the ear canal. You can see that very deep section of dry, dark coloured wax along the left-hand side of the eardrum, and there's a little bit of dry skin around there. So this is the standard size ulnar tube you just saw me trying to put in there, and you can see that it just wouldn't accommodate the ear canal. It wasn't big enough to accommodate both the endoscope and these ulnar tubes. So we've got the fine end on here. We can see we're just starting to tease away at a little bit of dry skin just sitting down in front of the eardrum there. There we are. You see it's starting to lift up and pull into the suction. When you're using the smaller fine end as we are here, what you'll see is that you can't really get a strong suction grip because it's such a fine aperture on the end. So you do tend to pull a little tiny pieces. So it's great for moving things around. Not ideal for taking away harder wax, but because of the size of the canal, we're having to go with that. You can see actually as we're pushing, as we're pulling the wax across from left to right to try and unpeel it, there's a little bit of flexion in the eardrum. So that tells me that this wax is sitting right down on top of that eardrum. So it's difficult when the entrance is so narrow to get the angle you need to get into specific spots. Don't forget, if you look at the tip of your little finger, that's as wide as your eardrum would be. So you can get a rough idea of how small that space is. Now, as we get a grip here, keep an eye on this sort of right-hand side. I do put a pointer on here in a second just to point that out. Might be a bit further in. Because you can actually see the whole thing starting to rock and to push against the eardrum when we're actually moving it. There we go. So keep an eye on that section. Watch now as we pull from this left side to the right side. Watch as the wax tilts and starts to sort of press against the eardrum slightly. Keep an eye on it. There, see the whole thing just pushing. Now, don't forget, obviously there is flexion in the eardrum itself because that needs to vibrate to be able to pull this out. This patient, I remember vividly actually, it was a lovely lady. She came through. She'd used Q-tips to try and clear her ear, and gone very deep with them, which is what's pushed this down. We've got that classic Q-tip use shape as well, that much deeper, hard recess section, and then this thin layer all around the outside edge. So I'm trying here, using that limited suction with the fine end to pull across. You can see we're just starting to loosen a little bit there now. See how it's starting to break away? We're getting that peel just coming away a little bit. Sorry, I was going really close to the screen so I could see. But if we kind of peel it, we'll just see it just starting to fold away. There. Do you see the whole thing move then? As we touched on it, that whole section, so that layer across the bottom, up the left and across to the top is one big section of wax there. Just slowly trying to pull this away. Very, just teasing it out. We can start to see the skin of the eardrum now coming through behind that. We've got a grip on holding the suction on there, trying to gain a bit of a suction grip. If you hold the suction tube in place, sometimes you can get a really good grip on there. I'm aiming to opt for a different section now. Try to aim for that top tube. We're pulling. Look at the dry skin. There we are. Look at it fold down from that top left corner. There we go. Now the whole thing, we could tell the whole thing was attached together. This is a layer of dead dry skin. So where that wax is dried, it's dried on top of that skin there. So it just means that when we pull it, that the whole thing is coming down. Really trying to pull this down. Normally we go in here now with a set of crocodile forceps. Because of the small opening to the ear canal, I can't accommodate the forceps and the endoscope in there at the same time. We're getting a good grip there. We pulled that top section. There we are. It's starting to move. There we go. Can you see it starting to tease down the canal? There we go. Pulling it across, really trying to loosen it as much as we can, holding that suction again, look. It's just pulled a little bit of that wax through that dry skin. It hasn't pulled it all out. There we go. I'm really trying to pull down. Normally we wiggle a lot more, but don't forget this is right against the eardrum. We can't wiggle it too much. We run the risk of damaging the eardrum. So we have to do this and sort of make steady movements, pulling it across, trying to aim for a deeper section. There we go, trying to pull that across as well. It's really wedged in there. I've broken some of that skin away. Let's take a look now, see if we can get. Oh, it's nearly there. You can see it. There we go. There. Do you see that movement now? As it pulled across, it came out of the gap. It's pulled down. It's just moved from that little valley. Got it to the outer part of the ear canal. Now the small fine end is not going to be able to pull out of the ear canal. It hasn't got enough suction grip on it. So we're just going to switch back to the look at the size of the standard Zollner compared to the ear canal. You can see how small that entrance was there. Took some dry skin away. Got another block of wax behind that one. There we are. It's just there we go. Just starting to come through. And if we take a look. There we go. Now we can see we've got this layer of dead skin sitting on the. Sorry, I keep going close. I keep trying to see past what I'm doing there. We've got this layer of dry skin at the bottom of the canal there, working very close to it, trying to lift this. You can see it's not really lifting very well there. If we switch across now, we managed to pull a section from the left side. So if we go back in on the left side and lift, look what happens. You can see the whole thing starting to lift. There we go. It's starting to peel away. There. Look at that chunk of skin that came away. Look how much was down in there. That whole layer. That whole section was laying flat and this dead skin layer behind. We've got a very tiny little chunk of wax just sitting on the brow of that little valley there. So we'll just get rid of that. That's actually a lot more like dry skin than wax, that one. And when we look back in, you can see we've got, these are actually little tiny hairs of fibers off cotton wool balls, cotton wool bud Q-tips. So what I was trying to show you is it's really difficult to remove those. When you look at suction, that's all it does, is just kind of pulls them in, but doesn't really remove them. So they just kind of sit in there. So they're really hard to get rid of. You can see the dullness of the eardrum, a little red spot there where the wax has been rubbing back and forth. This is what we removed. So you can see there were tiny pieces. Look at that flap of dead skin though, around about the 1 centimetre mark. Can you see how much of that was actually attached to the canal wall and bent and around into that valley as well? The much harder, very, very dark pieces, certainly to the left-hand side as well. That very dark chunk there with this piece of sort of flap of dry skin that's come away from it. So you can see just how much was resting down against that eardrum and how it would have been really uncomfortable for the patient. You may have heard Barnaby barking in the background there, but you get this. It was really uncomfortable and deep in there for that patient. Very relieved to get rid of that. Very, very relieved. Let's go back to me a second. Okay, so. Yeah, that was probably one of our earliest videos. I think it was 62, so quite an early video and quite a difficult one to do. And you know, we technique wise, I probably would have gone for that flap of skin just at the top corner and pulled that down a lot sooner than we did in this video. But you know, all comes with experience at the end of the day. Thank you very much, like I said, for your suggestions. If you do have any other suggestions you can think of, videos you'd like to see, we'll carry on doing the top 10s. But if you think of anything else you'd like to see, then by all means, let me know. A few people mentioned they'd like to know what goes on kind of behind the scenes or what goes on with us here during lockdown and stuff like that. Mrs. B has set up an Instagram account, which I'll put a link to in the description below. We've got lots of projects going on in the house at the moment, so we're kind of renovating bits and pieces. So if you want to take a look at that, you're more than welcome to. That's kind of what we're doing in the background when we're not doing this. And we are due to reopen really soon. We've got another load of PPE coming in. So fingers crossed, we're hoping for the first week of June to reopen the clinics because we're still on a 3-week lockdown here in Wales. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're looking after one another and yourselves. We personally have lost people to COVID-19 in our family, and we really, really sincerely hope you guys are all doing well yourselves. Don't forget, guys, look after yourselves, look after your families, look after one another, and I shall see you again real soon.